What's up, guys? Brendan from Market Makers, your home for Wyckoff and Advanced Fibonacci TA. I need to show you something amazing today. I have a date on Fib time that it looks like there could be a key pivot in the markets, and I'll explain why this could be a key pivot. But first, let me show it to you in the market because this dramatically affects all of Bitcoin and crypto, okay? The holders out there. You guys need to pay attention to this video. I want to show you this really quickly, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of why this is so important. Let's look at our Fib time. So let's go ahead and grab our Fib time. I'm always looking for confluence between the marketplaces. As you guys know, I may be one of the only channels that is tracking Bitcoin to the Russell specifically, and let me show you some things here. So if we grab our trend-based Fib time, let's do this. Look at this date for the 4236, April 1st. April Fool's Day nonetheless, okay? And let me explain to you what I think Bitcoin's going to do between now and April 1st. But first, let me show you this in the other marketplaces as well as on Ethereum. Ethereum, April 1st. Trend-based Fib wave projection based off the pattern as well. April 1st, guys. And then let's go ahead and go to the Russell. Let's grab the trend-based Fib based off the pattern. See what we have here. April 1st, okay? Well, that's interesting. April 1st, key pivot date is forming here in Fibonacci. Let's grab this off the S&P, the broader market, okay? Based off the pattern, trend-based Fib, April 1st. Let's check the Nasdaq, trend-based Fib. We're going to go here to our beginning of the wave, down here to our swing low, April 1st. April 1st in all of the marketplaces, all of the indexes, crypto, S&P, Russell, and the Nasdaq. As you guys know, the crypto space tracks super closely to the Russell and the Nasdaq, and we need to look at some key confluences here. As you guys can see, the Nasdaq is above its 233. Again, this is super bullish what it's doing, okay? What it's doing is it's above its Wyckoff trading range. It's making an LPS, a last point of support, before it attempts a move up. This is accumulation, and it's the same. I've been over this. It's the same with the S&P, as you can see here. Let me go ahead and delete this. It's the same with the S&P. You can see the green trading range here, made our Wyckoff steps the higher range here. So we're going to look at some patterns and some targets in this video, but you have to see this in all these marketplaces. It's amazing. April 1st is a key date. So what happens between now and April 1st? Because as you know, this is a potential pivot or a continuation of an existing trend. But I think it's going to be a pivot, and I'm going to explain that to you right now. So the Russell, same thing. We have our defined Wyckoff trading range, holding a higher low with the 55 beneath us, and we are below the 144 and 233. But what's interesting with the Russell, if you go down to the 8-hour time frame, I notice this. We are wedged between the 233 and the 144. What else is wedged between the 233 and the 144? Let's go ahead and look at Bitcoin. Let's zoom in. And Bitcoin's pumping a little bit right now as we're talking, but it's been spending a lot of time between the 233 and the 144. It just got above it here, but it is ranging, guys. So there's a key event that happens at the end of next week, which is Friday, April 1st, which is April Fool's Day. Quarterly reports have to come out for all the financial institutions and their funds and what they are holding, okay, what they are holding. So their funds are going to come out. What we have, their holdings and their funds, what we have that's happened now in the last week, the markets were heavily oversold. They had a rally. They all rallied to a higher low. They are in a bullish uptrend, okay, and they're at key resistance. Most of them, except for the Russell, hasn't tested its 233 and 144 on the daily time frame. Again, the 233, guys, we've been over this. Watch the last couple of videos if you want to catch up. It is a key hallmark indicator of being in a bearish market or a bullish market, and we have been below it and not able to get above it. And all of the marketplaces until this rally, the S&P's above it, the Nasdaq's above it, Bitcoin's above it just now, but it hasn't been able to hold it, and the Russell's below it, okay? So when they report their holdings, they don't want to be in cash positions. So they've been buying. They've been buying into growth. They've been buying into tech. There's been a lot of rallies in these marketplaces. Just to give you an idea, let me just show you one. Let me show you the Nasdaq rally here, and then we're going to get into the Bitcoin analysis because this is amazing confluence, okay? And let's go ahead and grab this. Just the rally, March 15th. March 15th to where we are now, a 15% rally. Okay, a 15% rally. Let's do one more. Let's do the Russell. The Russell, we have, let's go to February 24th because that's your low, to where we are now, 11.3% rally. Let's check the S&P. This might be a little bit longer video, but guys, stay tuned on this video because this is some amazing confluence. I want you to see this. And let's check the S&P. February 24th, I mean, they all rallied that same day, February 24th, 11% rally. Okay, now let's check Bitcoin. Let's just go to the February 24th candle, this candle. Even though we have a lower low, let's go ahead and check Bitcoin so we can stay consistent with the S&P and the Russell here. And Bitcoin, oops, wrong measurement. And price range. Bitcoin up 31%. Again, moving like an altcoin to the other indexes, basically roughly a 3x to the other indexes, okay? So something to understand is they're not going to report cash holdings. They're going to be in positions. Now, after April 1st or on April 1st, that is the beginning of a new quarter, okay? This is when they'll start liquidating positions, reallocating assets, and this could be a risk off move, meaning cryptos, the high growth stocks could all be dumping again on April 1st and that following first week. Now, if the market's super bullish, you could see a continuation of trend, but every single index and crypto has April 1st as a key pivot date, okay? So that, again, that pivot could be a continuation of trend, but with the rate hike, the new rate hike coming, that's going to be a 0.5. I think you're going to see a major reallocation of assets going into value, going into emerging markets. A lot of it will be pulled from growth. I expect the high growth stocks and the crypto space to dump. So in the meantime, between now and April 1st, which is all of next week, it's this weekend and all of next week, I expect a rally based on what I am seeing here in the indicators. Let me share this with you. As you can see, we are slightly pumping up now as well. Let me show you what's going on here with the volume. So the volume, we had our prevailing downtrend really going all the way from here. Okay, we had our prevailing downtrend. This has now been bucked by this current uptrend in buying volume. You see this? This is your current uptrend in buying volume. And so we can get rid of this prevailing downtrend. Now, this is a daily time frame, but I want to show you some things here in the daily time frame. Look at this. I mean, you can see this in the indicators, guys. If you know how to use your indicators, this is accumulation. Okay, this is straight up accumulation. This is why I am not shorting here yet. Okay, this is straight up accumulation, and we're looking to make a top or consolidate and move up. And to me, this looks like we are consolidating for an attempted move up. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm going to give you guys the targets as well. And here, just in the accumulation distribution line, you see the same key TA principle. What am I drawing here, guys? The higher lows. The higher lows all in trend. You see this? This is very, very bullish. I've been talking about how we are in Wyckoff accumulation now for weeks. And when we look at some other indicators here on the daily, our volatility bands here, they are expanded, but they're starting to angle in and contract. Remember, the daily is going to be much more delayed. We're going to look at the 4-hour time frame from the smaller time frames because it takes so many more candles, so many more 1-hour candles and 4-hour candles to make one daily candle. But you can see this, and this is something key to pay attention to. You guys know I trade VTV, volatility, trend, volume. Volatility is so important coming from the Forex space because I do not trust volume in the Forex space. Look at where our ATR is. This is the lowest ascension. Okay, again, I'll explain what this is. This is the lowest ascension since over here in July 19th. This is when you had, I'm going to go and pull this in, massive volatility spike from July 19th all the way up to whatever this peak is. I mean, this is so big, I got to pull this thing down. All the way to up here, December 4th. So July 19th to December 4th. Let's go look at that on the chart. And this is July 19th of last year, obviously. This is descending. Now, the ATR can turn up at any point. Again, this is a measure of volatility. Volatility is a measurement of the separation of candles. When this is dropping, that means the candles are consolidating and it's a coiled spring, okay? I've given this analogy many times now. It's like compressing a coiled spring. At some point, you let go and it pops. The harder you compress it, the deeper the ATR goes. ratios, this pump up on an ATR could be a pump or a dump, but because of what's happening in the macro markets, I do believe we are going to move up. So let me go ahead and exit this. Let's go ahead and look at July. We did this the other day, but this is worth noting. Look what happened at this time frame in July. Let me go ahead and zoom in here so you guys can see this. This was the beginning. See, our volatility is descending July 19th. We get our base here for our Wyckoff spring. And from July, this is where we're heading right now in volatility, this area right here. Now, again, this could be a dump, but because of the market metrics, what's going on in the macro space, I believe we're going to pump. And this could be, this is where we were, and December 4th, we hit our peak. And that is going to be the big dump, I think. Yeah, that's our big dump. So all of this volatility, once we hit our baseline here, this volatility brought us all the way up to our all-time high and then peaked out when we had this massive dump, okay? So we're going to have a move in Bitcoin, and it's important to understand where your targets are and what we're looking at, because we want realistic TA, we want realistic predictions. No, I do not think this is our march to a new all-time high, but I want to show you this because, again, we have this window of opportunity this coming next week where I think we will see our breakout. It could start this weekend. Bitcoin is highly, highly volatile. So let's look at this. Let's go ahead and get some, let's get some targets and patterns going here, okay? So I want to use my trend-based fib. Let's get a wave projection. Our one fib here is at the 48,266. The 1618 is at 55,128. And let's go ahead and add our other fibs in here so we can get some more targets. Get our 786 or 886, 113, 1414, and 1272. And we'll go ahead and make that blue. Match the others. Oh, actually white. Match the others. Okay. So let's look at this on our targets here. Now, we have this current pattern right here that has been causing the turbulence in the market. But again, I expect this to go up. This does have an extension. I don't expect this extension to be the top necessarily. I think the Russell has to pump up and test its 144 and 233. And I think that will mean, Bitcoin's going to rise substantially more. But just in case, we're looking at 46,481 here on this extension. If I start drawing patterns, let's go ahead and draw an X5 Fibonacci pattern. Swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low. And I could trade this a couple different ways. I can trade this as a Navarro. Navarro comes to the 886. Let's go ahead and draw where the 886 here. That gets you to the 113 at 49,709. 49,709 would be an upside target if we can flip that 46.5. And then this goes out to the 113 on an extension. Okay, this would be super bullish momentum if this happens. That 113 right there. That 113 gets you to 54,592. So basically 55K almost. Okay, depending on your exchange, these are going to vary a couple $100. These are the key targets I'm looking at. So essentially, I'm looking at coming in between this the 1618 at 55,128 and coming down at the 886 here, which gets you to just about there, the 113 at 49,709. So roughly, let's just round up, okay? 50K and 55K. This is essentially the two key targets I'm looking at when we start to move up, 50K to 55K for the range. Now, let's look at, do we have any confluence for that? Maybe on a larger time frame. This is the daily. You guys know I trade on the daily, zoom into the 4 hour and 1 hour, of course, but this is where I plot a lot of patterns. The weekly time frame. Went ahead and drew this to save some time. Look at the confluence here on the weekly time frame with my Fibonacci patterns. The 1618 here is 50K, 50,400. And of course, the extension for this pattern here is 54,538. You can see how closely these are. 55, 128, 54,538. These are my two key targets trading here on the daily time frame. I really like how this is shaping up. Now, if we look at some things here, like let's look at our reverse engineer, or let's look at our Ichi cloud on the daily. We got through the cloud. Remember, I told you this was key. This is tracked so beautifully. And maybe it's from 20 years of cloud trading. Again, this was the first system that I learned. But I knew that if we got rejected, we're going to try to spiral around to the weaker point of the cloud. This is all in Wyckoff accumulation. Hence, the cloud is weakening. More Bitcoin is being bought than sold. Hence, you move up in your trading range. And we're starting to move up now on the 233. So again, I'm watching this. We broke through the cloud. You can see how thin this resistance is. I want to see this move up, okay? This looks to me like we're going to be moving up. And again, the first few targets are going to be 46.481. And I'm looking at 49.709, basically 50K, and then basically 55K. Now let's go ahead and look at the reverse engineered RSI and look at our volatility compression. We know volatility is dropping, okay? And again, look at this. You can see it here just with the function of that Bollinger Band type function. Here's our expansion for big moves. We want big expansion. Look at the bottleneck. This is going to pump, guys. I think this is going to pump. I think the other markets are going to come up next week. It's the last week before they have their quarterly reporting. And then that following week, or actually that Friday, April Fool's. How ironic is that, by the way, that Friday is the beginning of the new quarter, which is March 1st, which is April Fool's. Think about how many people are going to be posting thumbnails on YouTube when this thing starts pumping up, talking about finally the next major bull run is here, 100K, 200K, 300K, all that's going to come back. Now keep in mind, is that possible? Of course it's possible. TA is about probabilities. And the probability of us going on a mega bull run will have to involve a lot of bullish sentiment. And you'll see it in the price action, okay? This is why we track daily with price action and do TA. But what I expect to happen, this is a vicious bear market rally. The bear market always has big rallies, okay? This is a vicious bear market rally. And then I expect, because of the macroeconomics, because of the actions the Fed's taking, because of 40-year high inflation, you guys have heard me go down the litany, I expect that change in the marketplace April 1st to begin. I think you might even see profit taking April 1st at the beginning of that new quarter. And that following week, I think you're going to see the crypto space come down from whatever target we hit. So it's very, very important to track this, because this could be a giant bull trap that develops. And obviously, if we flip these key levels as support and keep moving up, I'll be reporting on that at this channel as well, as you guys know. So let's look at some smaller time frames. 4-hour time frame, like I said, we have our GAN 45. Here's our 21 EMA finally catching up to price. We're probably well above the Ichi cloud here for support, since we're above it on the daily. Probably above the moving averages too. Yeah, so here's your moving averages. Here's your nice support cloud. This is all bullish, guys. This is very bullish. I think Bitcoin, again, is going to come up when these other markets move. Now, keep in mind, the indexes are closed. Sunday night, they'll open up for futures, okay? And then you have your pre-markets. Really curious to see what they do. If they do decline, you're going to see crypto decline. And I don't just mean if their range decline, like, minus 0.5%. If there is a move in those markets where they decline, then you're going to see crypto decline. But if they've been doing what they've been doing the last few days, which is just up and down a little bit, you're going to see crypto do the same thing. They're going to break out. This next week is so key, because I think you're going to see some bullish momentum in the markets. And again, because Bitcoin moves like an altcoin to the indexes, we could have some very nice targets hit, get to that 46.5, get to the 50K, get to the 55K if the other markets really start moving and get overbought, okay? That's the key here. We are in a bear market rally until we can flip our all-time high, test it, break through it, and use it as support. That is when you are back in a bull market, and for Bitcoin, that's at 69K. So that is a big plate with everything happening in the world. Just keep that in mind. Keep realistic expectations for what you're doing. And let's go ahead and see a couple other things while we're here. Turn Ichi off. Let's look at what the Caterpillar's doing here on the 4-hour time frame. We are still expanded, because we remember the 4-hour time frame is going to act quicker, so this will close quicker. So as the daily is compressing, you're going to start to see this compress as well, and this gets a lot tighter in its appearance than the daily does, okay? So we're going to see a move coming, and again, this looks like it could take a couple days to develop here in the 4-hour time frame. Let me look at my volatility bands. And you can see we had big expansion, and now we just have this little wave action. Again, this is the accumulation wave action. My moving average is staying elevated. And let's look at our accumulation line up here, and you can see this in the accumulation line. Just like I said before, I mean, just look at the angle, okay? Look at the angle of ascent here, and you can even do this with a trend angle. You can grab a trend angle, and you can just see how nicely this has been holding a bullish trend, okay? You see this? So you're right at a 48 there. You actually do a Gann angle at a 45 here, one of his key angles for being bullish or bearish, and you have some room to come down and test this as support as well. So this has just been holding beautifully. Upwards accumulation, guys. It's all about being in Wyckoff. And our EMA angles here, they're angled up, obviously because we're going on a slight pump. Volume, this is what we want to see, a volume as well, the volume tightening. Look at that. We fell below the moving average. Consolidation, you're going to have some volatility in consolidation, but before a highly volatile move, which as we know the ATR is descending on the daily, before a highly volatile move, you will often see the volume start to peter out left to right and start getting really tight, and then you want to see a breakout candle. This is when you'll start to see these big candles with high relative volume. Okay, let's go ahead and look at some of the alts again. So I gave you that date, April 1st. Ethereum's the same. Let's take this off, get some projections. I have this pattern here for Ethereum, and this is, I would trade that. This is either, you can trade this as a butterfly or Navarro. Sometimes these patterns overlap and sometimes they have some of the same points. This is in the parameters for Navarro, but it's a little bit under for butterfly, but this is part of trading and you adapt. So you can also look at this from this perspective. There's a couple different areas here we can get price targets and predictions from. Let's go ahead and grab trend-based Fib extension. Get our projections the same way. You can see we're hitting the 1 fib at 31.90. If we use this pattern, we have the confluence here now that's causing turbulence. The extension on this pattern gets you to 33.92. This having an extension on a pattern, by the way, does not mean price is going there, okay? This is just the parameters of the pattern. So what I'm predicting, again, is this coming up week, possibly starting this weekend, but this coming up week, if we see these indexes moving up, Bitcoin and Ethereum, the alts, you can see they're all in the same spot. Bitcoin just got above its 233. Ethereum is above the 233 and the 144 right now, okay? So you can see they're all in the same spot, but these are my key areas I'm looking at. If we do pump up, I'm looking at 33.92, and if we do trade this as a butterfly, give it a little bit of love here because it's not quite proportionate for a butterfly, but let's go right there, 1618. This again would be not a Hail Mary target, but this would be extremely bullish sentiment. I mean, who knows, if Bitcoin got to 55K, it's not a one-to-one relationship. I don't know exactly where this would go. I can just give you predictions based off the fibs, okay? 38.93 looks to be the ceiling potentially for Ethereum, but that would be a nice move up. And let's look at Solana. Solana's been very disappointing to me. Trading in our Wyckoff 618 box here. Okay, this is my Fibonacci box that we've had Solana in here, as you can see, struggling mightily to stay above the 618. No difference here. So if Solana does break out, as you notice here, the 144, 233 are above it. This is at the 886 of the pattern. This pattern also does extend. That's 116. Okay, now Solana's at 103 for easy math. Let's just say it's $100. This would be a 16% move if Solana did come up to test this pattern, test its EMAs, and if it ends up making some candles up and then gets rejected, it will be going down, okay? And of course, we'll update that in another video. Now this pattern, just like my other patterns that all have this same extension here, the 113 is what I'm looking at right here, and that lands you right at 127. So that would be kind of my ceiling right now for Solana. When Bitcoin gets super bullish, and it moves, if the indexes move as well, we could see Solana come up to this first target at 116 or the second target at 127, and then I would be looking for a top and a potential reversal. XRP, I have a couple targets here as well. XRP, this is traded right now. This is very bullish what XRP is doing, as you can see. We have my Gann 45. We basically have a trend line going up here that has been used as support several times. It's between the 233 and the 144. If it breaks out above this 618, I would expect this to get to the 113 potentially at a $1.07, okay? $1.07, and you're at 83 cents right now. If this underperformed and did stay down here at the 886, roughly right about here, that's at 96 cents. You never know with XRP. 96 cents, $1.07, and if this came out to the max extension, I would trade this right. This would actually be, well, this would actually get pretty high at the 1618 of this pattern. This would get to right about 1617, $1.30. Again, that would have to be super bullish momentum. Try to keep things realistic, guys. My key fib ratios I would be looking at would be the 1618, the 1 fib, and of course we have to break out of the 618. But I think if Bitcoin breaks out, given this bullish trend that we are in, this is an easy flip. Okay, so I think at a minimum you're going to the 1 fib at the 98 cent level and almost 99 cent level, and then more than likely you could achieve this target here of the 113 at a $1.07, and you may get somewhere between the $1.07 and the $1.21 on XRP. All of this will depend, again, on the indexes. We have the April 1st date. We know that the quarter ends on the April 1st is the beginning of the new quarter. So we know there could be some more bullish momentum entering the market. We have to see what happens. If the indexes fall apart Sunday night, Monday morning at open, then all of this is negated and you will see crypto get pulled down if they start falling down early. But if they stay flat or they start moving up, look for crypto to potentially make that death roll in the bear market, which is a vicious bear market rally. Charles Dow wrote about this, the 3 phases in the bear market. You have your initial decline, you have a vicious upthrust, or a vicious, what's the word I'm looking for? You have a big trend up, and then the bear comes back out and mauls you. So, all right, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. I think it's very informative. I think you guys will really, the people that have been watching this channel, I think you understand how accurate the fib time has been. It's been really impressive with some of these pumps. And I'm really excited to see that for April 1st. And in between now and then, look for a breakout in the crypto market. And if the market reverses, guys, look for a breakdown. And then, of course, more videos will follow. All right, guys, I think I'm tired of talking at this point. So have a fantastic weekend. Another video coming tomorrow.